Hello and welcome to Citi TV Scorecard. It's another wonderful edition. Now, the footballing world is always exciting, the sports world even more so. Now, this week, Napoli have finally the first one in 33 years. And of course, even amidst celebration, there's still controversy in the midst of it all. We'll get to that a little later on in the show. The Under-17 AFCON is rolling along really nicely. Nigeria, Morocco, Senegal all having run-ins within the week. In the Premier League, the Premier League title race is still not decided, at least according to the games left to be played. Arsenal Football Club had a difficult assignment this week that they dispatched with a lot of seniority. And then there was also Manchester City doing their own thing. Chelsea, finally, Frank Lampard has won a game. It was becoming a little worrisome at C39. Finally, they've made it to C42. And so there's Chelsea to talk about. There's Arsenal to digest. Manchester United have a tricky fixture list to finish the season. They lost today to West Ham United. So there's a lot to chew on today's show on Scorecard. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, I'll introduce my gentlemen in the studio, and then we can get today's show going. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Susu Graham is here. Coach Christopher Nimley is here. Gentlemen, good to have you on.
Always a pleasure, Ben.
Nice.
Always a pleasure.
It's been an interesting week. Before we even get into the thick of things, I don't know what your pick of the lot has been. Under-17 AFCON, EPL, title race, United top 4, Chelsea C39. I don't know which one has caught your attention the most.
I think two things. The fact that the Liverpool supporters all of a sudden think that they will be making top 4 at the expense of Man United.
You should have seen the console.
It's extremely laughable.
Doing the Premier League.
Yeah,
so yesterday I held a phone-in session after the Premier League, and you should have heard the call.
It's laughable.
No, some United fans called in and said they didn't have a lot of hope.
They are not true United fans. And I'm saying that for the fact that Liverpool fans think that they will make top 4, it's laughable. Your destiny is not in your hands. And like I told them, win all your games. United can afford to lose 2 games out of 5. Like we've lost, we can afford to lose another game and win the other 3 and still make top 4 at your expense. So it's extremely laughable. And then of course, Chelsea just postponing the brand of Apple phone that iPhone that will be released. C39, they say they prefer C42 or C45. So we need to add one or two features to C42 or C45 to hand it over to them. But so, I mean, these were my picks, to be honest with you. But it's been a beautiful week. It's been a beautiful weekend.
Quick thoughts?
I thought, like you said, Napoli winning the league finally it was a big moment. I think 33 years for a team for that region of Italy. The fact that teams outside the northern part of Italy don't win their title much, it's a big achievement. So there's the 3rd in their history. So it's a big deal for them, and congratulations.
A lot to chew on as far as that one is concerned. Let's start off with the Under-17 AFCON, however, and let's get to 2 of the games that have happened within the week. Zambia were up against Morocco, and Morocco, typically, you'd expect them to be doing well, especially at this stage, but that has not been the case. They have all the infrastructure in the world. They have, pretty bright young prospects as well. Never mind that they lose a lot of their prospects to countries like the Netherlands, France, and whatnot, but they were up against Zambia. They lost that game. There was also South Africa up against Nigeria. Pretty interesting game. Let's get to highlights of those 2 matches. We'll come in studio and discuss. So Morocco losing that game to Zambia, but still making it to the next round of the competition. South Africa doing really well. The Nigeria have not been convincing at all, also making it to the next round. Let me start with you, Susu. Morocco, they struggled a little in this game, but I saw their game against Nigeria. They were really good. They were really decisive. A bit of a mixed bag in the group for them.
Maybe because this was their last game and they already had 6 points, their eye was off the ball. And you would imagine that with such young players, that mentality, it might not yet be kind of solidified for them. So they kind of just took their eye off the ball. They still got the results. They are through to the next round. So it remains to be seen how this tournament plays out. But I guess if they do well in this tournament again, to just show us the results of their hard work, because we've been talking about the kind of work they've been doing in their infrastructure, the things they've built. So I think they've made it to the next round. So they are proving their credentials, and we'll see how they handle the knockout games.
Coach, quick thoughts on, the Moroccans. Like I said, should they be looking to win a tournament like this? It's happening on their turf. They are the host nation. They, like Senegal, have chalked successes in recent times, but their junior teams don't appear to be. I don't know how to put it. They don't seem to translate from their junior teams to their national teams. There's always a vacuum somewhere in the middle, and then they have players who end up coming to play for the motherland from France, Netherlands, and all these. It never gets to under 20, under 23. What's wrong? What's wrong over there for them?
At this level, I'm one of those who sincerely believe that it can't be about winning, or it shouldn't be about winning the ultimate. It should always be about giving yourself the opportunity to be part of the transition. Okay. If you are in Morocco and you are the host nation, your fundamental reason for being in this tournament is to get these boys the exposure they need. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that playing to make sure that qualification is actually guaranteed to the World Cup proper. That, in my view, should be the number one objective for which they are playing in this tournament. If the opportunity presents itself where you have to go on and win the tournament, then you win it. But to say we are going to win it, no, I'm completely against that. This is clearly a developmental stage. That is why I've never been enthused about the means of qualification into this tournament. Last week we went back.
Yeah, we spoke about.
And if you look at what is up, look, I am always looking at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the sort of rep that we are going to present against the rest of the world as Africa. So far, apart from the Senegalese, who are yet to concede a goal and who have been so solid in every department, you look at the rest of the teams, the manner in which we are shipping in goals, the manner in which things are being done haphazardly, you begin to worry. Yes, you can say these lads are still being developed, but there are certain basic things. If you had the most established nation, like you rightly said, Morocco at this level will not dominate. If they go to the main tournament, they will not go and dominate everybody. Yeah. I don't want the situation where Africa presents its 4 or 5 rep at the main tournament.
I think it's even 3.
3 rep at the main
it's
tournament.
3.5.
The fourth
is a wild card.
On the wild card. We go into the main tournament, and then after the first round, after the quarterfinals, we are booted out of the tournament. I don't want that because we expect that 5, 6, 10 years from now, these boys will be competing with their counterpart from the other continent at the world level, at the World Cup. So don't deny them
the transitional phase.
Don't deny them. So yes, you want to be a bit skeptical about the way the Moroccans have gone about their transition into their national team proper, but it's about getting these boys to express themselves. And look, we were just watching Cameroon, Burkina Faso, just before walking. At the time, Burkina Faso were leading 2-1, and Cameroon, from what I was told, more or less exiting the tournament. You looked at the football that was being played. You look at the Cameroonians, you look at even the South Africans, you can clearly see that we have been left behind. We have been left behind. When I say we, I'm talking about Ghana.
Yeah.
The under-17 tournament proper is ongoing.
Yeah.
We've taken our so-called under-17 to go and be playing friendly games in Saudi Arabia. And what is even more appalling is the fact that we've again gone there with players who for sure will not be part of the next under-17. I hear, or I learn FIFA is trying to make the under-17 tournament
every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, if these boys...
It means you take the under-15.
You take the under-15. You see, look, I don't know why the people who are in charge of our football are so obsessed about selling players.
Because that should be easy to do, because we have a juvenile system now. There's a Colts league now.
Look,
getting under-15 players should not be problematic for us.
That under-15 national team that I hear the people at the Ghana Football Association talked about, I said, it's so biased. I do coach football. My team plays in the elite division of juvenile football in this country. We don't know how the players are chosen into the national under-15. And if you look at the players who are selected to be part of the national under-15, it is teams belonging to the ESCO members. Those people who sit in ESCO, the ESCO people, they have players from their teams that are selected into the under 15. So what are we doing to ourselves? Is it that those of us who are investing our time, our knowledge, our money, everything into football, we shouldn't also reap what is due us unless we become ESCO members? Why have we taken players who failed the MRI test 2 years ago? Players who should have been part of this tournament. Players who didn't even get a chance to play in the qualifiers that led to this tournament. We have taken them to Saudi Arabia, like we took them to, is it Serbia? And we won and we are jubilating. And I sat in and said, no Ghanaians should jubilate over that. I'm hoping that when Bra Laye comes, I'll give him a call personally. Because he's my friend. I'll ask him, what is this? Young man, you are one of those people some of us are counting on to stand your ground and speak the truth and get the right things to be done. But if you're also toning this line, then it is going to be done. Look, everything is being done in a very haphazard manner. If it is indeed to develop players, the so-called national under 15 should be the team. Because once you take them there, then we are guaranteed that next year, when the qualifiers for the next edition of the under 17 proper start, we wouldn't have problem.
And they've even started building chemistry.
Exactly, we wouldn't have problem. But if you do the things the way you are doing, I sit here
because what's the point of taking people who they are done, they're out of the system? If anything, we should be taking them to under 20 and under 19.
Under 19 to get them prepared for under 20. The only reason why these things are happening is because they want to go and sell these players and put money into their selfish pockets. And it is time that some of us stand up and speak against this thing. We have the FA president, Keto Kreku, to be the chairman of juvenile football in this country. And when such things are happening, you think the football people should give you another mandate to lead the football of this country for the next 4 years? I don't know. I don't vote. But look, if you are intelligent, if you are smart, and you understand how football development occurs, you should not be supporting what our people are doing. The proper under 17 is ongoing. We are not part as a country. We should be aiming at being part of the next edition. But from the way we are doing things, believe you me, from the way the qualifiers are done, we will always have to go past country like what? Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire. It's not easy. It's not easy.
A lot going on in the under-17 space there. Let's move on to some foreign football, and let's start off from Chelsea Football Club. They were up against AFC Bournemouth. We'll try and see if we can get to that Chelsea highlights in a bit. We don't have it as of now. Let's get to West Ham United, versus Manchester United. It was a big game for United. Let's get to the highlights of that one. We'll come back in studio and discuss. So Man United losing that game to West Ham. Big loss, big win for West Ham. They are trying to, float above the relegation zone. Huge result for them. Let's talk about this game in context of United's remaining games for the season. Two sides to the story. Those who believe that United have a tricky fixture list to end the season. Those who think that they'll be home and dry, they'll be fine, they'll win a couple more games, wrap up the season. Where do you stand on the two sides of those arguments?
The fixture list is very easy. I don't see what's tricky about it.
Fulham?
Not
taking points from Liverpool, almost took points from City. Wolves have become hard to break down.
At home, at Craven Cottage.
They have Chelsea to play.
Those are points at Craven Cottage. Wow. It wasn't away from home. I think Wolves, where they are on the table, it shows they are not as consistent. Again, away game, they are coming to Old Trafford. I think the reason I'm pointing this out is we are talking about a United team that has not beaten any team in the top 9 away from home. They've been very poor away from home. So it means that at home, they are making up the difference. They and Liverpool have been quite poor away from home. But at home, they get the results. And I think the fact that 3 of the remaining 4 games are at home is why I'm very confident that they'll make top 4. Because I just don't see them dropping points in those home games. And their one away game is Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth are a tricky side. They are, you never know which Bournemouth is going to turn up. But more often but on paper, I think that's a game United should be winning. I'll be more surprised if they don't pick up at least, I think the minimum they'll pick up is 8 points. That's my most pessimistic outlook, which is they draw 2 and they win 2. But I'm very convinced that they'll win at least 3, if not all 4 games. I think unless they keep making mistakes like they are making, where we have seen individual mistakes cost them the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And I don't expect that at home, though they won't have enough firepower to get them over the line. I feel like even if someone makes a mistake, there's still a goal or 2 or 3 for them in their home games. Because when I think of the teams they're also playing at home, you said Fulham. When you look at the teams they are playing for actually have nothing to play for, which is also very important. It means that extra, that willingness to go the extra mile.
Does Fulham need any motivation to play at Manchester United?
I mean,
small teams always get excited when they have to play big teams.
If it's the last day of the season, your Premier League status is secure. You're not challenging for Europe. There's not much to play for because you're just thinking, you know what, let's let this season and we come back. I don't want to get hurt. Because that's the truth. The players are not going to go 100%, knowing that there's a risk of injury, knowing that Manchester, and that's another thing. The teams they are playing, there's not much to play for. Chelsea, we don't know whether they'll actually turn up 100% and put their full 100%. Fulham, same. Wolves, same. Bournemouth, I think, are pretty much safe right now. So when I look at all of that, I put it all together. United have more motivation going into every game. They are playing at home, and they are better on paper than all of the teams they are playing. They should be able to get it done. I just don't see a situation where they don't pick up enough points to get top 4.
Coach, Suzu's made a point about United worst case scenario picking up 8 points. You share in this sentiment?
Worst case scenario, 9 points. Worst case.
You don't think the games are tricky?
No, what makes it tricky?
United have injuries. They have. It's not the same.
Look,
this is not a full
in the last
United
2 games.
team.
In the last 2 games that they've played, it's been individual errors that has cost the team.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw on Wednesday, after playing so well, in the 90-something minutes, in the last meaningful attack of the game, he was doing this. Would he do that again? No. David De Gea today, United would not be where they are without David De Gea. Would he make such a mistake like he did today? Obviously not. And Soso said something which is very, very true. Even if there will be individuals' errors, for the fact that United have 3 games at Old Trafford, I say it is home and dry. To Liverpool, to all those Liverpool, including you yourself, who think that...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Including you yourself, who think that United all of a sudden...
I have no idea what you're
will
talking
blow
about.
it. And Liverpool just come from a big gut. I mean, look, it is very shocking to me. Look, let's call a spade a spade. No team was awarded any point at the beginning of the season. We all find ourselves where we are as teams based on the output we've given throughout the season. United will not only beat Wolverhampton at home. You see, I was telling Susu when we were on our way here that Man United have played so many games. So if you watch them over a month now, where they have to play midweek, weekend, they tend to struggle in the second half. But thankfully, there's no midweek game for United. So the players we saw today are going to rest for at least 6 days. When I say 6 days, they are going to train all right. There will be no intensive sort of football games to exert them further. So Wolverhampton coming to Old Trafford, it's a foregone conclusion. We'll beat them.
Ule Lopez agree?
Oh,
they've been solid since he came in.
No, I think he's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
But that's why I mentioned the motivation.
And we saw him.
That's what I've also mentioned.
They don't concede as many goals.
But that's what I mentioned the motivation. This is a team
What
that
are they
is
going to play for?
They have exactly.
Look, let them come to Old Trafford. They can come there with the best of motivation. They'll get beat. As for Chelsea, you see, they will have to play Nottingham Forest. Then after playing Nottingham Forest, when they come to the city of Manchester, they will not go back to London. You understand? They will come to the city of Manchester and go to Etihad. Minimum 4, Ayoko. From Etihad straight to the Theatre of Dreams. Minimum 3, Ayele. Ayoko plus Ayele is Ajete 7. So that is that is what Chelsea are as we speak. So as to why the Liverpool people think that all of a sudden Chelsea will do them a favor, Fulham will do them a favor, Wolverhampton will do them a favor. You see, whatever Liverpool were to do. They don't have their destiny in their hands. Ben, as a true Liverpool fan, if I ask you, Liverpool situation and United situation, which one will you prefer?
Oh, I definitely prefer the United situation.
So, the case died.
That is the case.
No, I have to be, and we're talking about the chances of Chelsea beating United. And Kwame Safoso on radio has mentioned momentum, that okay, they've got a win now, their momentum is building up. They still went, what, 5
they
games?
want to finish the season on the high.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They went 5 games that losing. They've
They
won
will
one
finish the
now.
season on the high after playing Man City, play United, and play Newcastle. Finish on the high and let's see.
So, if they are able to get a win against Nottingham Forest,
Yeah.
which is very likely because Nottingham Forest are one of the worst away teams in the league. Let's say they go to Man City, have a decent game, do something interesting, maybe lose 1-0, maybe even draw. It's all within the realms of possibility. If that's the form they are coming into the United game with, that changes their calculus. I can say, okay, now it's a tricky fixture. But based on their current form, as we speak today, it is not a tricky fixture because they've not shown anything that makes me think they are capable of causing Man United serious problems. That's why I'm just looking at the teams now. None of them is showing that. And like I said, mentally, at this stage of the season.
Did you think that West Ham would get a result today?
Yeah, I did. Do you remember I said
he
it?
said
Do you remember I said it on
he
Sports
said that he
Panorama?
expect
I
West
said
Ham
it.
to
I
Because
said
they
it was
have
a
the
tricky game.
motivation of avoiding relegation.
Not even that. I was saying that if you look at United's results against the top 10 teams in the league away from home, I would consider West Ham a top 10 team despite where they are on the table because
Fair
of their
enough, fair
quality
enough.
and that. Look, they're in a European semi-final. They're not there by chance. They have earned being
right to
there.
be there.
And they've played well in Spurs this season.
Yeah.
They have quality players. So the result didn't shock me. I think I'm more shocked that the way the results came about, that it was a kind of but even then they created a few chances later on. They had a goal. They had 2 goals disallowed. So they were putting pressure on United. It's not like they were playing so well that okay, they should have won the game, but they showed their quality. So for me, West Ham was always going to be the most difficult game of their last few games. I could tell. So
there's the conversation about David De Gea. I think we'll talk about that after we take our break here. A lot of noise about him. Is he a ball-playing goalkeeper? Is he a modern-day goalkeeper? Like Coach said, he saved United in a lot of games. You can ask Liverpool fans. There have been a lot of Liverpool-United games that have been decided by the leg of David De Gea. Is it time to move on from that? A lot to chew on when we come back from the break. Stay with us here on Scorecard. Welcome back. This is Scorecard here on Citi TV. I'll be getting to a few of your messages in a bit, but let's talk about David De Gea. I just checked my social feed, and he is trending #1 on Twitter with over 100,000 tweets. Wow. I'm not sure how this happened, but it looks like every now and then what you expect to be smaller errors gets magnified. Is that what we are seeing with De Gea? Does he have a legitimate case, or is there a legitimate case for fans and like even United technically to take a second look at him?
I've felt they should move on from him. And my point is that I think as a ball-playing goalkeeper, I think where we are going in the modern game, if you're a top team, you need a ball-playing goalkeeper. And I don't think he fits that bill.
You think every top team needs to play from the back?
I think every top team does. I don't see any. There's very few top coaches who don't do it. It's maybe in certain games they might decide to go long, but more often than not, teams want to build from the back. And I think based on that, and that's what Ten Hag seems to want to do, because you have a coach, that's what he wants to do. And I think because of that, they should probably move on from him. And I think coach raised a point whilst we're not on air, but that the cost of a keeper maybe is a bit prohibitive right now. That if you want a keeper,
does a ball-playing goalkeeper need to be expensive?
Well, if you want one who's also going to be a great shot stopper, you want, because if you are Manchester United, you want to challenge for the Premier League, you want to challenge for the Champions League, etc. You need to buy a top keeper. And if you look at other positions in their squad, I think they can get by with De Gea for maybe next season, maybe 2 seasons. But I think it should end after that. I think after a while, you have to move on. I think he's a great shot stopper. I'll give him that. But I think because of his kind of ball playing and stuff, he makes more errors than he should. He's leading the league in errors leading to goals this season with 4. So the stats say he's cost them more than any player. He's cost the team more than any other player. But I wouldn't even count today. Every keeper has mistakes when stopping shots. I wouldn't even say today is part of the bigger issue. I wouldn't count today's mistake as part of my issues with him. I think the ball playing. And there were moments where he kind of mispassed and that kind of stuff. It happens. But I think if you are going to play out from the back, it's difficult to have David De Gea as your keeper. So if that's the direction Ten Hag wants to go, he has to go. And that's what it is. If you're okay with his ball playing as it is, and you are judging him on his ability to stop shots, claim crosses and that kind of stuff, I think he does those things well enough. I think, and the shot stopping is elite. It's some of the best in the world. His crossing and his sweeper actions, they are okay. They are acceptable. I think that's fine. But the one weakness he has for me is playing out from the back.
Let me just stay with you before I go to coach. If United are to get a ball-playing goalkeeper that fits their stature as a club, what are their options?
Well, you would have to look. Let me think about it. Because that's the thing. You have to also look at someone. You also have to look at their age. You don't want to buy someone too old because it becomes a short-term solution. So you have to look at Diego Costa, Mike Maignan, keepers in that category.
Those are expensive goalkeepers.
Exactly. They are going to be expensive options. So if you are looking at a team and you are thinking to yourself that, okay, we need a striker, because they do need a striker. Let's say you have 150 million. That striker is going to cost you like 80. That's already half your budget gone.
Yeah.
And before you're going to have to reinforce other positions, will you have enough to buy a top quality keeper? Because for me, if you are buying a keeper, you might as well buy one of the best, which is what Liverpool did with Alisson. They spent 80 million on one of the better keepers in the world, and it's paid off for them. So I think that's another thing. If you are going to make the signing, it has to be a signing that's right, a signing that will last you 7-10 years. So those are the considerations. So for me, I think David De Gea needs to be upgraded, but I can also understand why that might not be the right decision at this time. But I think overall, if you want to play from the back, he's not the keeper for you.
Coach, clearly you cannot ignore 4 errors leading to goals as a goalkeeper. You are leading the league. You are leading your team. You can't sweep it under the carpet.
You also cannot underlook the fact that he has the most clean sheet in the league. Right now, if the league were to end, he takes home the Golden Gloves. That speaks volumes of the goalkeeper we are talking about. You see, you talk about he trending on social media as number 1. It's simply because he's not British. That is why he's trending as number 1.
You think there's a deliberate agenda against him?
There has been a deliberate... Look, have they ever magnified the error of Maguire before? Just on Thursday, Luke Shaw was making something that...
Volleyball.
Look, any player in his right frame of mind at that moment would never think about doing it. How many times did you get them talk about it? Oh, he played well. He was very good. He was very good. Then they just sweep under the carpet. Look, I will not sit here and say David De Gea has not cost United. But I also look at the goalkeeper. You see, he's a legend of the club. Is he performing as a goalkeeper? Yes, he is performing as a goalkeeper. There will come a time he will make mistakes. And like Ten Hag said, individual mistakes are not things that you can dwell upon so much as a coach. Because you clearly know that that player who makes that individual error will be craving the next opportunity to do what? To fix it. Would he be in goal against Wolverhampton? Yes. Will he be in goal in the FA Cup final against Man City? Yes. And these are look, for example, in the FA Cup final, if United were to stand any chance of winning that game, we need David De Gea to have one of his real, true color days. Please don't blow this thing out of position. Now, let's look at what United need as we speak. That position is not so delicate a position to be solved now. If you look at what this team needs, this team needs proper depth. Proper depth include the goalkeeping position. A goalkeeper that will come and challenge. If United have got the money, I will agree with Susu that if the budget is about 500 million pounds, I'll be the first person to say, look, you've been a legend. You've been here for more than 10, 12 years.
Let's get a more
keeper
younger who fits the style.
And my first choice is the Porto goalkeeper.
22 years, I think.
22,
Diego
23
Costa,
years.
22.
He is my
And that's
first
the
choice.
same thing they did when they bought De Gea.
That's it.
Around
He
that
was
age.
actually bought at
There's
18
actually a
years.
goalkeeper at Valencia I think United might like. He's
Yes,
Georgian
Georgian.
Mamadashvili.
Yeah, he's about 24
19.
years.
No, he's even younger. He's 19 years.
Yes.
Valencia's goalkeeper.
Yeah, I hear
he's a
they've
lefty
spoken
as well.
about. Yeah, they've spoken about him too, but it has to do with the budget. Now, United has the least goal conversion rate. They are 16th when it comes to converting chances. That tells you you need to spend big
on a striker.
on a striker. United, after the injuries to Varane and Martinez,
Yeah.
are more or less playing somebody who should be dominating at left back,
At centre back.
at centre back, with a 80 million centre back sitting on a bench, not even being given a look, deservedly so. Then when you move into midfield, when you take off Carlos Casemiro,
He doesn't have a backup.
he doesn't have a backup. So the goalkeeping thing is not an urgent problem that needs fixing urgently. It's not. So don't blow it out of proportion. Look, I have seen David De Gea made saves that took my breath away. Can you count the number of times he's done that? You've lost count over the past 12 years. You've lost count of it. I'm not going to sit here to back him or to support him or to applaud him for the error today. I'm not going to sit here and do that. By his very high standard,
Yeah.
he should be saving that with cheeky ease. With cheeky ease. And you could see his reaction.
Yeah.
He knew he was at fault. So quickly, let's sweep it under the carpet.
Move on from it.
United is not winning. They stand no chance of winning the league. Sweep it. Don't dwell so much about that. Look at the bigger picture. There are 4 more games to be played. Do you need David De Gea in those 4 more games?
You do.
Yes, you do.
Let's
sweep
see
it and move on.
Let's see how that plays
And
out.
stop that non-British Maguire and Co. and Luke Shaw and Co. Look at my own Jadon Sancho, Rashford and Co. When they don't perform,
nobody-
do they trend as number 1? They don't. Stop that.
Interesting things going on with Manchester United. Let's get on to some other highlights. Like I said, Chelsea Football Club broke out of their slump this weekend to beat AFC Bournemouth. And then we'll also get to that game between Manchester City. They were up against Leeds United. Sam Allardyce, in his first game in charge, he said he's up to the level of Klopp and Guardiola. He had a chance to show it. We'll give you back-to-back highlights of those games. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Let's start off with that Manchester City game. Let me start with you, Coach. Pep Guardiola was not very happy this weekend because of the decision of Haaland to hand his penalty over to Gundogan to score a hat-trick. It nearly cost them in the end.
I disagree with him on one condition. You saw his reaction after the penalty miss,
Yeah.
but he was there when he saw the decision made. I think he could have
He should have intervened.
straight away. Straight. But you don't react
After it has gone
after
bad.
it's gone bad. No. Because you could read his lips.
Yeah.
You should have taken it. You should have
And
taken
Coach
it.
makes a good point because in the post-match press conference,
Yes.
he actually went and said, you know what? I think he realized he overreacted after the game, after a bit of, because he also said that Mahrez and Haaland, who are ahead, one of them is supposed to take the penalty, could also have missed.
Yes.
So me doing that, anyone could have missed the penalty.
right.
It's not Gundogan's fault for missing a penalty. And it was his first chance to get a hat-trick. So he understands that, okay, his teammates are being...
Yeah,
free.
so
he kind of... He still
had a
said that
reflection
he
moment.
realized that he still said that, look, he felt that one of them should have taken the penalty because it's their responsibility.
Yeah.
But he feels that maybe he was a bit,
So what he should have done, or I would have done,
Yeah.
is this. If I have my number 1 taker, if for one reason or the other, the players are going to switch, I should be in the know. I should be consulted.
Okay.
If you don't consult me, you don't go contrary to my rules. Okay? Now, if you take that stand, then you begin to back him. But at the end of he was there when they switched. And he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So I completely disagree over that reaction that he did. But having said that, I think the result was never in doubt.
It was never in the end.
Yeah, because of what
The penalty, yeah.
And then the goal
and
coming
then the
right
goal,
after.
that more or less made it even more interesting. But look, at this stage of the season, they don't care about how they win. It's not about winning beautifully week in, week out. It's about winning. It's about winning. And it doesn't only apply to Man City.
Yeah.
It applies to Arsenal. It applies to Newcastle. It applies to Manchester United. And those teams at the bottom who are playing for their lives. All you want to see happen is that at the end of the 90th minute, or when the referee blows the whistle, you should have done enough to take the 3 maximum points away from your opponent. So it is what it is. But of course, you see, they are playing these games now, having in mind what awaits them in the Champions League in midweek. Because you can clearly see that some of the 50-50 tackles, the Man City players are more or less dodging, or they are not that committing. They are not committing to it. Because you look at the task ahead in midweek against Real Madrid. You want to go in there with a very strong team. Even the manager's selection on the day spoke volumes of the fact that he respects the Tuesday's opponent. Because if you look at the changes he did,
because if he gets dumped out on Tuesday, he picks a bad result on Tuesday, the Premier League becomes all the more important.
Yes.
And look, these are their fixtures to end the Premier League. They have Chelsea after Real Madrid. No, they have Everton
away from home.
Yep. They have Chelsea
at
the Etihad. They have Brighton at the Amex, and then they have Brentford
away from home.
They are winning every. These are tricky games.
They are very tricky games.
I still think they'll win them, but they are tricky. I think that they'll drop points in at least one. I just feel that because of the number of games.
They can afford to drop 1
Brighton,
point. Is it
Brentford.
4 points off Arsenal?
Yeah.
If they were to draw, that makes it 5. If Arsenal were to win, that makes it 2. They can go on and win the league. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if there's so much worried about the champion. Look, if you put it to Pep Guardiola, the league and the Champions League, which one does he really want to win?
The league.
He will tell you
already.
he wants the Champions League because the last time he won that was his Barcelona team beating Manchester United in 2011 at Wembley. And it's been so long a time. It's been more than a decade since he last won it for his very high standard.
And honestly, if in 2011 we sat there and said that for the next 10 years, Pep won't win the Champions
League, I wouldn't even
have
believe it.
Yep. Nobody would have accepted that because of the way he does his thing. So, look, truth be told, they won. But look, on Tuesday, that's going to be one of the juiciest of games.
Yeah, especially based purely on how they lost last year's encounter.
I just hope that it doesn't motivate them wrongly, though. Because if they look back on how they lost, in an attempt to go and fix it, if it is not done with respect in a very pragmatic manner, then they are going to be laughing at the wrong side of their cheeks. Because look, this Real Madrid team are now playing to win cups. They know the La Liga is gone. We saw them yesterday against what? Osasuna in the Copa del Rey final. We saw what they did. And they are going to do even similar against Man City on Tuesday.
Let's get to more highlights. Let's get to that game between Liverpool Football Club and Brentford. Now, Brentford have been a thorn in Liverpool's flesh for a minute. They were up at it again this weekend. It was a tough game for Liverpool. In the end, they managed to scrap through with all 3 points. And then Tottenham were also up against Crystal Palace. So let's get back-to-back highlights of those 2 games. So Liverpool attempting to make a late push for top 4. Coach thinks that push should be forgotten. They should think about Thursday night football. 6 wins in the last 6 games, actually. So a lot of things going on for Liverpool, or going right for Liverpool at this point. And then there's also Tottenham Hotspur blowing hot and cold. They've more or less thrown their top 4 ambitions also away. They also now have to depend on other teams. Let's take our final break here on the show. When we come back, we'll touch briefly on those games and we'll move into other areas of Europe. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Let me get to my message box because a lot of messages have been coming through today. This one here, coming in from Manaman Says So from Domahin Crow. Shout out to Manaman. I think he texts into the show literally every week. He says, Ben, good evening to you and your pundits. David De Gea has been at United for 12 years, but he still makes elementary mistakes. We need to get a good goalkeeper if we want to compete in the EPL and Europe next season. Okay? This one here from Emmanuel Sabato from Spintex says, Man United should forget the top 4. They will play Europa League next season. Kili Kwame from Adenta says, I think Liverpool have done really well, even if they don't finish in the top 4. United were the team we all thought would finish second or third at the end of the season. And for Liverpool to do this incredible comeback after a poor start to the season, I hope they overtake United to finish 4th. Kili is a Chelsea fan.
Let me just say something.
Yeah.
Man United came off their worst Premier League season. So if you are following football, a team that came off their worst Premier League season, he said they will finish what? Second?
Yeah.
Come
Second
on,
or third.
We need to learn our football well.
No, but sometimes, I mean, Ole had done pretty well with United, though.
I'm saying that last season, United got their worst points in Premier League history.
That's true.
So if you understand football and you want a team to progress, how can a team that was that bad
Baby steps.
go
Baby steps,
go
we understand.
They are
Let me
saying
get to
that
more
because they
messages
won't
here.
be playing midweek games, no Europe. That every week,
and
every
this
week
team
they have 1 week to
have
focus
play.
on
You
the
see,
next
Man
game.
United have, I think, in all competition they've played over 58 games now.
Yeah, it's a lot. They've played a lot.
The
That's a
most
lot.
games in Europe.
David from Afanco says, great analysis. Because of Chelsea, a student I thought in JSS can tease me because the past weeks have been horrible. Only yesterday I was able to manage a little smile. But Chelsea, it is well. Fifi from Hacho says that I think your panelist should take his United glasses off and look at the situation dispassionately. Football is about momentum. No team, I repeat, no team loses 2 games in a row and it doesn't affect your confidence. Chelsea and Liverpool had poor performances and they had their confidence dropping. United look jittery, hence they will probably create more errors. United should not be delusional. They are in trouble. Wow.
Look, this is shocking. Look, you see, this program is meant to educate.
Yeah.
When you say put on, okay, let's put everything. That's why I asked you, Ben.
Yeah.
What will you prefer?
United
situation.
No, I don't even think.
I mean, this is common sense.
I don't
What
even
is
think
this?
we should dwell on it.
At all.
I feel like people have their opinions.
You see, at the end of the day,
just respect it.
at the end of the day, whatever Liverpool does
Yeah.
will not get them into the Champions League.
Yeah.
Liverpool only gets into the Champions League if United and Newcastle
Slip up.
don't do their work.
Let's get
Simple.
to talking about Newcastle. Let's get to their game against Arsenal. It was started as a tricky fixture for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta, for the second time running, dropped Thomas Partey to the bench in favor of Jorginho. Arsenal ended up bossing the game 2-0, clean sheet to boot, 3 points in the bag. Let's check out the highlights of this one. Let's get to talk of Arsenal in this one. Coach, like I said, Arteta decided to keep Partey on the bench for both games, brought him in late in the game. They managed to win those games. Is this as a result of their slump leading up to this point, or you think that he just feels the team needs to be refreshed?
I think it's about refreshing the team. Because, look, I was a bit worried though when I saw their selection because of the physicality of Newcastle in midfield.
And they were very rough.
Newcastle were very rough, so I thought he needed the presence of Thomas Partey alongside Jorginho. I've always said that in their games against Man City, I would have gone Partey, Jorginho
Together.
And I thought this was another game where he should have done that. Truth be told, in that first 10 minutes, Arsenal were very lucky. Because in the first 10 minutes, Newcastle struck the post. There was a penalty shout that VAR overturned.
The referee went to look and change.
Yes, actually, the referee gave it. No, I think
he
didn't.
gave it,
And
and
he
then
gave
he
it as a
discussed,
penalty.
went to look
and
and
then went
changed.
to look and
Then
changed
changed
the
his mind.
decision. So it tells you that it wasn't very, very smooth at the beginning of the. But once Arsenal took that lead, they controlled the game with ease. That was where Jorginho became so important.
Yeah.
He wasn't complicating things. At the end of the day, we're told that he made the most passes.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that 95% of those passes were all square balls.
Yeah.
Just being careful with the ball. Don't do any turnover. Keep it. If you have to go square and simple to keep it, let's keep it.
Because even the goal, if you notice, sorry to cut you,
That's right.
it's like they were attacking. He didn't know what to do, and he
And then
took
he
it
came
back to Odegaard.
And Odegaard,
Yeah.
happened
And
to-
Odegaard made something
Exactly.
out of
So,
it.
yes, it was a good call. I think the Partey situation should not be blown again. Should not be blown out of proportion. Look, if Partey is fresh and he's ready to go, I think 99% of every coach will pick him ahead of Jorginho.
And just to add to that, I think Partey was off form. But I don't want to say it's his fault Arsenal were playing badly. No. I think there was a lot going on. If you notice, Bukayo Saka is tired.
Yeah, he's tired. He's
we
still
not really seeing him perform.
They don't have somebody to replace him.
I'm not really seeing him perform.
Yeah.
You are seeing Odegaard is now picking up a bit more responsibility. Look, he scored 15 goals this season, no penalties. That's very impressive for a midfielder. Yep. And considering last season, he wasn't really scoring. It just shows you he's up his level. He has gone
up to a different level.
And I think Kira has come in. I think Rob Holding played a bit more, even though Kira is better because Kira is left-footed. So those angles, playing two left-footed defenders, is something most managers don't want to do. And I think he's also new to the league. He's probably now still learning English. He's still adapting. So maybe that's why they persisted Rob Holding for a few more weeks, longer than they should have. And I think it made Partey have to do a bit more running and covering and overstretched him. Because if you notice now, Xhaka does not play like a number 6 anymore.
No, he doesn't.
Partey is a lone 6. And if you have to cover more space, which is why Saliba and Gabriel play so high. But it's difficult to play as high because Holding doesn't have pace. So I think Partey was exposed by the change in personnel, having to adjust to a new defensive shape. And he looked a bit poorer. Maybe he's also a bit tired. But whatever the case is, I think he was a bit off form. Jorginho has come in and he did well in this game. Exactly. Credit to him.
That was what.
But he struggled with the physicality. I think
and he's always going to struggle. He doesn't have any athleticism, slow foot speed.
And I have to be honest, I'm not sure about Zinchenko. I think in terms of when they are playing a game where they'll have 60% of the ball, 55% of the ball,
having the same conversation today.
But in a game like this where it was a bit more end-to-end, he had to do a bit more defending. There were a few moments I was a bit...
Look, his defending is very suspect.
For Zinchenko, he's not a defender. Yeah. Truth be told.
His defending is very suspect.
He's a midfielder.
Pep Guardiola is the one who started playing.
The truth is he was playing in that position because of his ability with the ball to help them keep shape and that kind of stuff. He'd rather have someone control the possession. But he's not a left back, which is why in a situation where he was a bit more having to do a bit more work, there was that chance where Isaac hit the post. Yeah. And even the goal came because when Tierney came on, you see Tierney won the ball, kind of moved it quickly, and then I don't think Zinchenko wins that ball back, for example. But look, it's just that I think Zinchenko is good for certain situations, which is the majority of Arsenal's games. Where they are playing teams, they are going to be better than teams they are going to dominate. Yeah. But I think once in a while, when they are playing the big games, Tierney should be starting the big games. I think that's where I disagree with Arteta's selection.
Points well made. Let's get to the Italian Serie A, where Napoli wrapped up the title with a draw against Udinese, I believe. AS Roma were up against Inter Milan. Remember, the race for the top 4 in Italy is still wide open. They were up against Inter Milan. They lost that game. There was also AC Milan taking on Lazio, and Lazio were also put to the sword by AC Milan. So back-to-back highlights of those games, and then we'll come in studio and discuss. Yes, so we did say that we're going to bring you the highlights of that AC Milan Lazio game. Apologies for that. We gave you Napoli Udinese instead. Napoli winning the title. Now, interesting debates generated off a photograph that came onto social media yesterday, where Maradona is seen crowning Kvaratskhelia as his heir, where Kvaratskhelia is being referred to as Quaradona. People didn't take too kindly to it because most people feel like Victor Osimhen has been Napoli's best player this season. A lot of just back and forth generally. Let me start with you, Susu. I don't know where you stand on this because it's been an interesting debate for me to observe generally about who the best player is, who the face of the team is, all of that.
I think people misunderstood the graphic. I don't think it was referring to the best player. I think they had decided that Kvaratskhelia was the next Maradona after about a month or two. They started calling him Cavadona after a month or two in the team. Osimhen has been there 2-3 years. It corrects me if I'm wrong. Yeah. This is not his first season. No one said he was the next Maradona when he came. But this guy was here for a few months, and they started giving him the Maradona tag. There's a reason for that. So if you are making a social media post and you have Maradona putting the crown on Kvaratskhelia, it makes more sense because he has been given the Maradona mantle.
But since to make this a more specific debate, who has been Napoli's best player this season?
No, let's separate that thing. Who has been Napoli's best goal scorer? Osimhen. Who's been their best player? It's the young man we are talking about.
And that's what I wanted to
And
decide.
they've
A lot of people
I don't
wanted
know
to
why
say,
people-
a lot of
see-
people feel like because Osimhen is the top scorer, he's automatically their
No,
their
it
best
doesn't
player.
work like
and that's what I'm saying. It's misunderstanding who has, because the fact that they are calling him Cavadona, and that's what I was saying.
If
They are
you've
not
watched-
calling him Diego Osimhen.
See,
They are
if
not
you
calling
have
him
watched-
Osidona. You
If
get
you
what I'm
have
saying?
watched Maradona play, which
Yeah.
of the two players play like Maradona?
Definitely Kvaratskhelia.
Case that.
And I think that's why the picture, I saw the controversy and I found it very
Interesting.
because the guy was there for a few months. He hadn't
Yeah.
even been there for 6 months. They started calling him Cavadona.
Is it
They are-
because they won the league? That's why they think, and Osimhen has scored the most goals. That's why they think he should be.
You
given
get what
the
I'm saying?
Maradona
I
tag.
think
No.
he's been, because he has been given the whole "you are the next Maradona" thing. Because remember they had Insigne, they gave him the number 10, all
Yeah.
of that.
Yes.
And now you have Cavacilia playing the same position Insigne was. So there's a certain kind of, you are like the creator of the team. You are the kind of
Yeah. He's the technician.
just Maradona was top scorer when he was there, but Maradona was also the playmaker. Maradona was, everything was Maradona. I think
Top
if you
scorer,
watch
top-
if you watch
top
Napoli
creator,
play,
yeah.
Osimhen is scoring a lot, but the play goes through Kvaratskhelia.
And
I think
Kvara does a good balance of
Yes,
both. He
60 to
scores, he assists.
70% of Osimhen goals
Yeah.
were made by this young man.
So I think, and even the penalty in the game that we
He-
just
he
saw,
made
he
it.
won the penalty. I mean, I understand people feel that Osimhen is being slighted,
Yeah.
and I get where they are coming from, but it's a misunderstanding.
Susu,
No.
There's nothing to understand
no,
about this.
Coach, I think
if you've watched Maradona play, of the two players, which of them play like Maradona?
Coach, I agree with
It's just
you.
the people who.
No, coach, I agree, but I'm saying that it's a misunderstanding of what the picture represented,
Yeah.
which has caused
Yeah.
this. Because I think people thought it was, they had saying he's the best player, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't even want to get into who's the best,
Yeah.
because it depends on what you think is important. But the fact is, this guy has been deemed Maradona's heir
Since he arrived.
So
That-
it has nothing to do with Osimhen being disrespected. Osimhen is not considered
But
the
who are
next
those saying
Maradona.
Osimhen has been disrespected?
Oh, people have-
Nigerians generally were up in arms on the
They should
Jose.
stop that.
They were unhappy with
They
it.
should
And
stop
it's
that.
become a whole thing about, people think that there's a race issue involved.
What is all
I think
this?
if you look at the way Osimhen is treated in Naples,
Yeah.
you see people
He's like
wearing
a
masks,
king.
and
It's-
they
he-
love
it's
him.
like Osimhen is literally on a pedestal
I
in
think
Naples.
how much they love him and respect him is not
It's not
in
in
doubt.
question.
The issue is, who is the heir to Maradona in that team?
There's no issue.
It's Kvaratskhelia, which is why if there's artwork and they put the crown on Kvaratskelia's head,
it is
it is
justified.
apt. It is correct, because
justified.
if you watch a team and we decide that our next Abedi Pele or whoever is a wide player or a midfielder, and we do an artwork putting the crown on the head of that player, and you say, oh, because Asamoah Gyan scored the most goals, we are disrespecting Asamoah Gyan. You are not tracking how people feel about the player,
yeah,
and I think
yeah.
I think people don't get that enough.
I think that puts it in context. That puts it in good context. Let's get to the German Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund are attempting a late chase down of Bayern Munich for the league title. They were up against Wolfsburg, and they absolutely took them to the cleaners. 6-0 is how that game ended. Let's get the highlights of that one, and then we'll get to Werder Bremen versus Bayern Munich as well. So big goals scored there in the German Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund doing well to chase down Bayern. I know you are skeptical about them.
Look, I'm not impressed, and I think we'll go to what we've been talking about. When your destiny is in your own hands, and when your destiny is in someone else, when they needed to beat Bochum, where was this attacking
They
play?
can
That's
beat-
the match they should have won.
You see, they can beat every other team from now on 7-0, 7-0, 7-0. And Bayern will win 1-0, 1-0,
They have
1-0, 1-0.
they have Mönchengladbach to play. Very tricky game. They have Augsburg, and then they have Mainz to finish the season. If I look at Bayern Munich, at this point in the season, Bayern Munich have Schalke to play, RB Leipzig, and then Cologne.
All Bayern Munich needs to do
Is to
is
keep
to
winning.
win their games, and they are champions of the Bundesliga again.
Could
For
you
what,
say those
11
names?
or
You said
12 times?
Leipzig,
Leipzig, Schalke,
Schalke.
and Cologne. Those
I
are
think,
tough
I think,
games.
I think the Schalke and they are picking up form, but remember they're in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
So that's a very dangerous game in the sense that they are going to be up for it. And Leipzig, of course, they are one of the more
quality team.
But I don't think Leipzig this season are much of a
If
threat.
Bayern shows up, they win the league. That is what I say. Look, Dortmund shouldn't have drawn last week.
Yeah.
big
I
big
think- I
result.
think-
Took a lead with 4 games to go, and then you do a turnover.
Yeah.
And so now they are hoping that Bayern will do a
Bayern will
turnover.
drop points so that
Like
they can-
Liverpool are hoping that United will do a turnover.
Don't do that.
Stop
Let's
that.
get to the Copa del Rey final. Real Madrid were up in that final against Osasuna, lifting their 20th Copa del Rey title in grand fashion. Let's check out the highlights of that one. So Real Madrid lifting what they hope will be one of two trophies this season. The Spanish title or league title looks like it's gone. Copa del Rey in the bag. They have a big tie against Manchester City in midweek. Coach, just quick thoughts on this. Copa del Rey has been put away, and this was a trophy I didn't think they would win, especially after that first leg against Barcelona. But they managed to overcome. It just tells you about. I don't know about Real Madrid, but they just seem to have a different temperament for cup competitions.
Yeah, see, that is why Man City, genuinely deep down, they are not happy they are playing Real Madrid. If you listen to Pep Guardiola after the draw, he basically had to say that, look, if you want to win the Champions League,
you need to go through them. Yeah.
Yes. And when a coach says that, it tells you.
No, but I don't blame him. He has a very bad history, Real Madrid, in the Champions
League.
Even
with
his time at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, so
I think the only time he's beaten them was when he was
at Barcelona.
Wow.
That tells you. So look, I watched this game, and there was everything from Carlo Ancelotti himself, the mentality of the players. They felt that they needed to win this to go and play or to go and face Man City in midweek.
Yeah.
And the first goal came under 1 minute. And when they got pegged back, look, they never stopped running. That boy from Uruguay,
Valverde.
Oh my goodness! I wish he was playing for my team. Look, he's a complete midfield.
Yeah.
Box to box,
DM, CM, right midfield, right wing, AMC,
excellent.
Shadow striker.
I honestly feel in certain games they can even try my right back. Like if they know they will dominate the game.
If I have my way, if I'm his agent, he gets the most money, or else I take him away from the team.
Very valuable player.
Yes, because if you see, the same thing was happening to Casemiro. They are not paying huge money. The highest paid player in this Real Madrid team sits on the bench regularly. So I argue, if the man you are giving the most money is on the bench, I'm the one doing the job. You need to pay me good.
I'm sure his next payday, these issues will be raised. But just quick thoughts on Real Madrid. Copa del Rey in the back. The game was played in Seville. It was played in Seville. Just quick thoughts on how this plays into their game against Manchester City. What sort of frame of mind it puts them in?
I think it's a good. We expected them to beat Osasuna. I don't think Osasuna, it's a routine win. You've gotten a trophy. I think even removes the pressure a little bit that okay, there's no trophy-less season coming. Yeah. That we've at least won something. But we all know what they want to do. They want to do the ultimate, and I think they have the mental edge of Man City, especially considering the manner. Because I honestly believe if it had been a case where City kind of lose both games comfortably, in the sense that Madrid come 2-0, they will know that okay, we have to be better, but to be on the edge, to be 5 minutes from qualification and throw it away, it will haunt them. They will, and that's the hardest part, getting over that mental block. I think the only thing that's lucky for them is that their most dangerous player, Erling Haaland, was not part of that, so he does not have that mental baggage that some of the other players have. So it will be a very good tie, but
big game.
Depends on. But if Madrid, who are at home, can't win the first leg, I'll be afraid for them.
Big game in prospects in the coming week. Thank you very much for all of you who made time to watch the show. Those who joined us on social media, sent messages into the show. We appreciate all of it. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Susu. We'll see if we can have a repeat of this tomorrow, at least the first hour. It will probably be on the cards. But until then, next week, Scorecard will be back here on your screens.